Nathan, sir.
Dun, 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 dun. Down one at number 2. It's gas pressure without a container. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the space. Over to you, Quantum Eraser.
Dun, 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 dun. How do you have gas pressure, atmospheric pressure, without a container to begin with? When, from Elmhurst University, the pressure of a gas is a force that the gas exerts on the walls of its container. Please, I can't wait to hear this yarn. You can't have gas pressure in an open system. Duh. Married bachelors are more tenable. So basically, please explain how you can have the tire pressure without the tire. How can you have a vacuum, outer space, attached to a non-vacuum Earth without a physical barrier in the same system simultaneously without bludgeoning to a bloody pulp the laws of entropy? That is the second law of thermodynamics. In other words, how are you still breathing and adhering to your fairy tale religion both at the same time? Then define the law of non-contradiction. Then please list each fairy tale associated with outer space that gets taken out back to the woodshed and bludgeoned senseless as a result of the fairy tale vacuum of space vaporizing. Because you can't have those things in Narnia, because Narnia doesn't exist. It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. It takes everything down. And this is kind of fun. How in the world did the Earth form an atmosphere at all? In a vacuum? From a big bang? Have you ever heard nature abhors a vacuum by chance? Why is that? P.S. from Arthur Eddington. If your theory is found to be against the second law of thermodynamics, I can give you no hope. There is nothing for your theory but to collapse in the deepest humiliation. And you faltards have been humiliated day after day for as long as I've been here with this. Why do you continue to do it? You masochists. Definitely don't have any science acumen, and you definitely don't know the laws of thermodynamics, especially the second law. We have already shown that. Professor Dave got pummeled the other week. None of you people know it. It's shocking, too, because a second grader knows this. From the brain dead ballers, but we have gas pressure gradients, QE. Why do the spinning space monkeys, that's trademarked by the way, continue to wholesale dodge the very simple question to support their fairy tale religion? See, the question is, how do you have gas pressure without a container? Now, the Rhodes Scholars' response is, why isn't there a container between Mount Everest and sea level? That's their, what the heck, is that supposed to be some type of rebuttal? The brain surgeons actually think this triple your pleasure fallacy is a reasoned response to the question, right? All it is an incoherent red herring fallacy, begging the question, and it's non sequitur. It doesn't follow my question. I don't get it. I'll break out the crayons as long as you promise not to munch them. Here we go. We'll go through this slow. Which comes first? Gas pressure X or gas pressure gradients delta X? There can't be a delta X before there's an X. In other words, Klitis Vlatis Raumlickers. Before number 2, number 1 must friggin' exist. So again, how do you have gas pressure without a container? Brain dead ballers response number 2. These aren't in any particular order. Just throw something at the wall, see if it sticks. Can you show us the container, QE, and or what is the container made of? Right? Like that has anything to do with the price of pig bellies in China. I never anticipated those rigorous intellectual questions. Are they gotchas? See, it's a necessary antecedent consequent game. It's quite simple. The consequent is gas pressure. The necessary antecedent is container. just like the consequent filet mignon and the necessary antecedent, a cow. You see, if it's already clearly established, that is factual, that to have filet mignon, cows must exist, then I know this is tricky because this is a contingent, it's wrapped on this same argument. If someone slaps a filet mignon down on my dinner table, then I know with absolute certainty that a cow must exist without ever seeing or needing to see a cow or the data for a cow or the color of its hair. I don't need that. All I need is that it's clearly established already that to have filet mignon, cows must exist. You see it? So, the analogy, gas or air pressure is the filet mignon and the container's the cow. You get it? I know it's difficult for ball-tard spinning space monkeys, that's trademark too, by the way, and their ilk to process this, so have one of your slobber nurses explain it to you. Ballers claim number 3, the Earth is a containerless, open, pressurized system. Their evidence? Walk outside. Yeah, I love that one. This is the Elmer Fudd circle jerk of the millennium. Mr. Magoo's blushing. Tantamount to, the wind is generated by black holes interacting with dark energy, QE. The evidence? Walk outside. My word. Oh, before we get to that, there is an up-and-coming argument. Since they've been pummeled for 5 years, right? With everything I'm going to pull out today and before, the new argument is atmospheric pressure isn't gas pressure. Law of identity violation, because atmo means air. Air is gas. Gas is gas. Gas pressure. Okay? You can't get out of it. You're finished. Gas behavior. From the chemistry department at Purdue University, particles in a gas vibrate and move freely randomly at high speeds. From sciencelearn.org, the atoms and molecules in gases are much more spread out than in solids or liquids. They vibrate and move freely at high speeds. A gas will fill any container, but if the container is not sealed, the gas will escape. Will. Because you can temporarily put some gas pressure inside an open container. Temporarily. Because what's going to happen, it's going to increase entropy and it will escape. Let's define will for the window licking knuckle draggers. From lexico.com, will, it's a modal verb expressing the future tense. What's the next definition? Run, you bozos? Here, I'll give it to you. Move at a speed faster than a walk, never having both or all feet on the ground at the same time. You good? My word. Here's NASA's take on gas pressure. The molecules are in constant random motion and frequently collide with each other and the walls of the container. Because the molecules are in motion, a gas will expand to fill the container. Since the density is defined to be the mass divided by the volume, density depends directly on the size of the container in which a fixed mass of gas is confined. They're even telling you, you priests. Again, from Elmhurst University Chemistry Department, the pressure of a gas is the force the gas exerts on the walls of its container. Kinetic molecular theory explanation of Boyle's gas law. Observations about pressure may be explained using the following ideas. The rapid motion and collisions of molecules with the walls of the container causes pressure, force on a unit area. Pressure is proportional to the number of molecular collisions and the force of the collisions in a particular area. The more collisions of gas molecules with what? The walls, the higher the pressure. And for Ken Lieber text, pressure is caused, again, by gas molecules hitting what? The walls of the container. With a smaller volume, the gas molecules will hit the walls more frequently, and so the pressure increases. So the necessary antecedents that cause gas pressure, the things that cause it, are the rapid motion and collision of molecules. Well, collisions with what? Well, with the walls of the container. This is quite elementary. Take either one or two away and you don't have gas pressure. Simple. No amount of linguistics or mathematical acrobatics is going to change it. Newsflash, you can't have volume without a container. So say bye-bye now to your ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. Again. So, spinning space monkeys, let's talk about volume, shall we? Boyle's law from your alma mater wiki. Boyle's law, sometimes referred to as the Boyle-Mariotte law or Marioette's law, especially in France, is an experimental gas law that describes how the pressure of a gas tends to increase as the volume of the container decreases, right? So from Penn State University Chemistry Department, Boyle's law, or the pressure volume law, states that the volume of a given amount of gas held at a constant temperature varies inversely with applied pressure when the temperature and mass are constant. See the V here? Proportional to 1 over P. See this V? Right? How can you have that V volume without a container? How can you have that when the definition of volume from your alma mater wiki, again, volume is the quantity of three-dimensional space enclosed by a closed surface. For example, the space that a substance, solid, liquid, gas, or plasma, or shape occupies or contains. Volume is often quantified numerically using the SI-derived unit, the cubic meter. The volume of a container is generally understood to be the capacity of the container, the amount of fluid or gas or liquid that the container could hold, rather than the amount of space the container itself displaces. 3 sentences, 6 times container is mentioned. Say bye-bye now to your ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. Again. What do I have here? Spinning space monkeys! Let's go with the ideal gas law. PVV equal nRT. This is just a generalization of Boyle's gas law. So V is volume. Again, guess what question I'm going to ask? How can you have volume without a container? Do we need to go through this again with volume from your alma mater wiki? I don't think so. So say bye-bye now to your ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. Again. So we got from your alma mater wiki again, Boyle's gas law, otherwise known as the pressure volume law. For a fixed mass of gas at a constant temperature, the volume is inversely proportional to the pressure. This is mathematically PV, we got another V in an equation, equal K. Where P denotes the pressure of the system, V denotes the volume of the gas, and K is a constant value representative of the temperature and volume of the system. Guess what question I'm going to ask you? You probably wouldn't get it. Say bye-bye now to your ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. Quickly with entropy from the entropy site.oxy.edu, gas expansion into a vacuum, the mixing of ideal gases or liquids, diffusion, effusion, colligative effects, and osmosis. Each fundamentally involves an increase in entropy due to increased dispersion of energy with no change in total energy in the case of ideal substances due to a greater number of microstates for the particular system involved. So, according to your fairy tale, you got a vacuum with gases inside the Earth. What's the problem? What's your problem? Gas expansion to a vacuum, it has to increase entropy. It has to. It has to follow the entropy laws. Why isn't it? It makes no mention of anything else. There are no caveats with this definition. Anywhere. According to the fairy tale narrative, there's a vacuum surrounding your spinning ball. We obviously have gas or atmospheric pressure. Number 3, the Earth is not a sealed container. Number 4, the gas pressure is not expanding into the vacuum, like I just said. Ergo, the ball-tard spinning space monkey Earth defies the laws of entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. And, psst, by the way, From Arthur Eddington, if your theory is found to be against the second law of thermodynamics, which your theory speculation is, I can give you no hope. There is nothing for your theory but to collapse in the deepest humiliation. Spinning space monkeys, Sir Arthur here is serenading you. Containers. Again, sciencelearn.org. The atoms and molecules in gases are much more spread out than in solids or liquids. They vibrate and move freely at high speeds. A gas will fill any container, but if the container is not sealed, the gas will escape. Do you need me to define will for you again? University of North Carolina, gases behave differently from the other two commonly studied states of matter, solids and liquids. So we have different methods for treating and understanding how gases behave under certain conditions. Gases, unlike solids and liquids, have neither fixed volume nor shape. They are molded entirely by the container in which they are held. Again, from chemistry, Elmhurst edu.edu, the pressure of a gas is the force the gas exerts on the walls of its container. From NASA, again, the molecules are in constant random motion and frequently collide with each other in the walls of the container. Because the molecules are in motion, a gas will expand to fill any container. Since density is defined by the mass divided by the volume, density depends directly on the size of the container in which a fixed mass of gas is confined. Yet even more reading, this is tutoring for special children, special ed. Gas, it has no shape or size of its own. It takes the shape of its container and occupies the space given to it. Last subject. We'll be going over this again on Tuesday. It appears spinning space monkeys have been holding late night candle light vigils trying to figure out what open, closed, and isolated systems are. I counted 12 hours. They're simply defined right here, Chem Libre text and the Khan Academy. Let's see if they have some echoes in here. So, an open system is a system that freely exchanges energy and matter with its surroundings. A closed system is a system that exchanges only energy with its surroundings, not matter. An isolated system does not exchange energy or matter with its surroundings. Khan Academy. An open system can exchange both energy and matter with its surroundings? Pretty much the same. A closed system, on the other hand, meaning that it's going to be different than what was just previously stated for an open system. A closed system can exchange only energy with its surroundings, not matter. That's pretty close to this definition above. An isolated system is one that cannot exchange either matter or energy with its surroundings. This is cut and dry. Everyone knows this from junior high, intro to physics. Junior high, middle school. Idiot spinning space monkey claims. Because there is very little matter exchanged between the Earth and space, the Earth is essentially a closed system. Really? Didn't we just go over the definition of a closed system? A closed system is a system that exchanges only energy with its surroundings, not matter. So, as soon as you invoked I don't care if it was a single atom of matter, you're finished. Not a closed system, based on its definition. Mainly, I think I know what the problem is. I have to define only and not for you. So let's do it. Only, used to show that something is limited to not more than or is not anything other than the people, things, amount, or activity stated. You get it? Let's do it again. Only as a single factor instance and nothing more or different. And not. Used as a function word to make negative a group of words or a word. P.S. from Science Alert. The Earth loses hundreds of tons of atmosphere to space every day. Even in their fairy tale, you're wrong. Even in your own fairy tale. Number 2, a closed system is like an isolated system in engineering. This is a train wreck. So they come from MSU, making shit up university. Let's kill this quick. Anne Marine Helmstein, PhD, Biomedical Sciences. A closed system is a concept used in thermodynamics, physics, in engineering, and in chemistry, and it differs from an isolated system. Well, duh. A closed system is a type of thermodynamic system where mass is conserved within the boundaries of the system, but energy is allowed to freely enter or exit the system. The same that the definition spoke to above. For a closed system, same. You just can't make shit up and equivocate. You can't do that. Doesn't make any sense. You make horses' asses out of yourselves. You do it every day. Say bye-bye now to your spinning ball space monkey religion. Questions, comments?
I'm going to reiterate that this is number 2 in a top 3 that destroys, quote, the spinning ball space monkey religion. Now, in part 1, revised part 1, if you want to check out how the spinning aspect is destroyed, but the space aspect of the spinning ball space monkey religion is dealt with at number 2. You can't have a sky vacuum. Your entire religion is based around Earth with gas pressure in a sky vacuum, and it fundamentally violates natural law. Simply is not true, cannot ever be demonstrated to be true, and is only true on your television screen. Now, the critical part of this, for anybody who's just listened to that very excellent presentation from Quantum Eraser, thank you very much indeed, is the ramifications thereafter. Now, if the sky is not a vacuum, all claims that come from a sky vacuum are automatically bunk. Now, that includes, but not limited to, satellites, space travel, lights in the sky that are claimed to be gas, also violating this natural law. You can't travel in a second law of thermodynamics violation. You can't beg the question of an orbit in a second law of thermodynamics violation. The sky is not a vacuum. Space is fake.
I'd like to comment on what Nathan just said regarding fake. I agree. But I'd like to add this one little tidbit. I heard a video of someone who went online, I think it was NASA and the DoD site, where they actually explain what space is. They try to explain it. And they're saying it's actually at lower altitude, that the space in which the universe is its own environment. I agree, it's not a vacuum. But they're saying there's a less concentration of and density at those altitudes for someone to breathe the way they would, at normal atmospheric level, which is in the troposphere. When I heard this and I saw the definitions where this guy pulled up, he pulled up some federal documents actually showing where the altitude actually is. It completely supports what John says and you're saying, Nathan, with regard to where they say they're going. They are literally faking the telemetry, digital and electronic telemetry data when they show the SpaceX rocket go to 30 some odd thousand feet or 450,000 some odd feet. It's not going there. It's going at lower altitudes, taking this parabolic arc, because how many people can look up at the sky for a prolonged period of time and just not, your big ass head just gets too heavy for you to hold up and you won't look anymore because it's disappeared out of observable view. You don't follow to where it goes to. And then they show you this bullshit video showing what the external tanks or what the engines may doing as they're leaving the earth. It's not at all. Now, what John said regarding the vacuum, yeah, they tried to back themselves up, and and support saying that, yeah, our moon is within one of our atmospheres, trying to bring it closer or literally trying to expand layers of the atmospheres to say the Earth is really this massive, and oh yeah, we miss where each layer of the atmosphere starts, ends, and another one begins. Look, man, at some point they're going to get to a position where they can't just keep expanding on the education and the knowledge that we're researching and giving them, and then they try to put their fucking academic graduate school spin on it to make it sound more articulate and more plausible and more feasible and more viable, when really what they've done is taken what we've done and say, you know what, we gotta do spin control on this. Let's see if we can generate some bogus research and expand on something else, because that's what graduate school students do in PhDs. They literally try to expand and solve someone else's problem that could, and all they need to do is just go to YouTube and listen to us basically make common sense out of this. Common sense.
Yeah, they're finished. It's over. There's no way out.
Yeah, John, you remember 4 years ago we talked about what is space, and what was the $1 million question?
Yeah,
tell me what is space without telling me where it is. And the fact of the matter is, they're saying it's every damn where. 4 years ago you were shooting videos from. I could say, you know what, John's in space. People are like, really, he is? Yeah, he's within a space inside his closet. So they're trying to play semantics. I'm dead serious. They're trying to play semantics with it. When I people thought I was crazy when I kept saying the moon had to be closer, and here goes the proof. They couldn't believe that it could be that simple for me to figure it out. But then 2 years later, after the fact, they're gonna come out publicly to say, yeah, the moon is within one of our atmospheres. Okay, great. I accept that. What altitude is it at? And yeah, where's this freaking laser you say you keep firing from the Earth that hits a reflector the size of a damn suitcase on the moon? That's supposed to be spinning at 535 kilometers a second.
Yeah, it's
remember we addressed it. I mean, it's just not. Look, man. Let's keep blasting. Keep blasting.
Yeah,
because I told you, I've already had last week.
Hold up, Robert. Go ahead, Nathan. Hold up, Robert. Go ahead, Nathan.
I just want to make sure what Robert's saying, because he's correct. He's saying that they've pushed the atmosphere further and further out.
Yeah.
And that's correct, but it doesn't address the number 2 in the top 3 globe killers, because the question that's being asked is, how can you have gas pressure without a container? And all they've done is they've extended the gas pressure gradient out further, but it doesn't alter or in any way address the question how you can have that gas pressure extending to any distance without a container.
Yes, it doesn't affect it at all. They're idiots. Now, for Joe Normie, that might throw a monkey wrench into it, because they can't, critically think this thing through, that it's just a red herring fallacy. They didn't do anything. You still have to have a container with gas pressure. So it's nothing. Zero. Yep. All right.
Which means that the experiments they're conducting in a controlled laboratory setting, trying to simulate what the gases may be at specific altitudes, is basically a false experiment.
Well, it's not an experiment. It's not an experiment. Number one, I don't have to answer what they call the vacuum of space. I just know what it's not. That's all I need. And it's not a fairy tale vacuum. That's it. At any Tor value, they're idiots. It's standing second law of thermodynamics violation. They're done. It's over.
Well, I need to defend my hypothesis with regard to because
your hypothesis. Whoa. Well, let's stop. I don't want to get into defending hypotheses right now.
No. This will be quick. Because I'm saying I had already focused on the fact that they were on balloons. Okay, but any other larger object that they may claim was sent up there on a rocket and is floating around in microgravity in the vacuum of space, I'm sticking to the fact that there's a layer up there that I believe that is a zero viscosity fluid.
Yeah, we're not getting in there, and that's not a hypothesis. Let's stop right now.
Yeah, it is. Okay, we'll argue that on another time.
We'll argue that another day.
All right.
Between you two, let me just step in, just because it's so I'm neutral. Yeah, you've got a valid point. It's a worthy argument to have, but the reality is, while it's fascinating as a, it's the bit I relish about this discussion, the not knowing and the figuring out what the sky is. What is the sky? I don't know what the sky is, and that's a fascinating conversation to have. But you don't have to make a positive assertion. While it's fascinating and a discussion that's worthy of listening to for an audience, even, it's definitely not something that you have to defend, because you're not making a positive assertion that the sky is a vacuum as part of the entirety of the Western world's generalized religion that they're under. So they are making a positive assertion that the sky is a vacuum, and we're debunking that. So the following bit, the bit where the person who's then defeated in the argument, if they're claiming space or outer space to be more accurate, is real, is defeated. They say, well, what is the sky? And at which point I go, screw you. I don't have to tell you what the sky is. And frankly, I don't know if I was to tell them, but I don't need to know to debunk their claim that the sky is a vacuum called outer space. And that's, I'm not decrying your worthy discussion, though, Robert. It's definitely worthy of discussing, because that's the bit I'm fascinated in, right? We don't know anymore. So what the hell is the sky? I don't know, and I'd love to.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we'll have the discussion. Don't worry about it. It's just not going to happen today, but that discussion's coming.
Yeah, I know. I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm ready. Pack a few lunches.
Oh God. Yeah, I won't need just a cracker.
Just a cracker.
Yeah,
okay, I'll bring the crackers. I'll bring the pack of whoop ass. How about that?
You don't have that.
Okay.
Your sister didn't even have it. All right.
Okay.
Right, this is standing by. Hopefully, we'll go to some of the panel now. The presentation's done and dusted, but we need the other Ballbusters' opinion. So I don't know if you want to start with Arwin, but hopefully, Righteous is on standby.
Yeah, let's start with Arwin quickly.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm like in a frenzy here in chat and having this crazy back and forth with with Chris just going completely bananas. But he's gone now, and
yeah. Can he show gas pressure without a container? Did he show that?
Chris?
Yes.
I don't know if he's done anything, but he's made a lot of silly claims, so maybe he did.
That's the usual modus operandi. All right, thanks, Arwin. Chocolate?
I just like to laugh that whenever it's claimed that we can have gas pressure without a container, the guys who assert that will use a container, and that's weird. Because that's not the argument. That's literally the reverse. So I don't know if, Hillbilly and, what's his name?
Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard.
Yes, that guy. And the PhD who wants to use that as some type of proof that you can, and I guess maybe didn't watch the video or didn't see, or maybe didn't recognize that he used containers to prove you could have gas pressure without one, and use two. So, yeah, that's where we're at with this. So, yeah, I mean, it's a done deal.
The audience's benefit. So we're talking about Blue Marble Science, who demonstrated, in his title at least, he claimed to have demonstrated gas pressure without a container. He then produced a gas container with butane in it and pumped it into a second container, which was a very long, 20-foot pipe. So he had two containers. Now, following that, Dr. Daniel Faulkner, having been challenged by Nathan Thompson at one of the Flat Earth conferences to demonstrate gas pressure without a container, and the resulting silence was followed up by him doing a quick Google search, something he'd criticized flat earthers of doing when they become flat earthers. And the top result was Hillbilly Blue Balls, who's actually called Blue Marble Science, and his gas pressure without a container, in quotes, video with his two containers, and that was then cited by Dr. Daniel Faulkner for an example of gas pressure without a container. So it's a circus sideshow cluster screw of these two morons scratching each other's back and showing unequivocally that you can't have gas pressure without a container. Hillbilly Blue Bills will just show you how impossible it is to acquire gas pressure without a container by showing you him transferring gas pressure from one container to another, and then that being by Dr. Daniel Faulkner.
Boy, Hillbilly, you really showed up. You really showed us, brother. This is tantamount to disproving the existence of dogs by broadcasting live from a blue tick coonhound kennel. Priceless. What a clown. All right.
And the best part about it is that they actually believe it themselves.
Yeah, that's right. That's the scary part, Arwen. You're exactly right, man. All right, listen. Righteous,
Yes.
you got the con.
Okay. I guess we start with Davey.
No, go in reverse order. Start with Rumpus.
The rumpus. So
Rumpus, let me remind you, no ad hom. Here are the 3 rules. No ad homs, that's attacking the man or woman in lieu of the argument. No scattergunning, one topic at a time. Each will be exhausted to conclusion before moving to the next. Be prepared to support your claim. Be polite, speak slowly and coherently. If any of those 3 rules are violated, you will be booted. The floor is yours.
Well, I hope you conform to the same rules. Right, do you understand that in a room, do you think there's a gas pressure in the middle of the room?
Yes.
Right, what container is that bouncing off?
Off the walls that are outside the middle of the room?
No, we're talking about in the middle of the room.
Yeah,
What-
there's in a room,
Hold
there
on, you're
are
interrupting me.
walls.
You're interrupting my point. You're interrupting my point. In the middle of the
You're
room.
outta
where there's
here.
No...
Wow, come on.
Yeah, he's gone. I'm not putting up with
This
that.
is gonna be funny.
Yep, that was as much funny as I wanted to get.
He's just got a gotcha. He's saying if you measure the pressure in the middle of the room, if you've got a gotcha in the middle of the room and it measures the pressure, are you saying that in the middle of the room where you've put the barometer, what's the container around that? That's his question.
No, I mean, no, it wouldn't be any different because if you're in a closed pneumatic room that's pressurized, the pressure remains constant in the room unless someone breaks that seal in that pneumatic environment. So it doesn't matter if John's on the left side of the room and I'm in the center. If he walks to the center, the pressure is the same. Now, there could be a variance. There could be a variance because what he's trying to say is depending on the density of that gaseous environment, pressurized, that there's a possibility that those gases could be bouncing off of me or bouncing off of him. So you could see a very slight variance of pressure, but as a whole, there is no change at all. No noticeable change. No noticeable change at all.
You're right. You're so right. But it makes me smile so much, Robert. You've walked straight into the argument that he wanted to have. I'll just ask
but this guy, I would do the same thing John did, because you know what? The argument trying to generate just now was basically an argument based on semantics. He was trying to get so very technical, and he wasn't going to get very technical.
Technical? That was Elmer Fudd's sophistry.
There was a just let me get it in. Just let me ask Robert the question. Just a quick question. So we're talking about, in this example, gas pressure. So where did that gas pressure come from in the first place?
Well, whatever was in the room before you went in there and closed the pneumatic door remained in there. After that, it's what, if John and I are in the room, it's what we're actually expelling, which is carbon dioxide given out, flatulent gas, whatever else it may be.
Not a pneumatic room, just your room now. No extra equipment needed. Just in your room now. Where does that gas pressure come from in the first instance?
Oh, it's everywhere.
But where does it come from? How do we have gas pressure in the first place?
You got me on that one. I'm stumped.
Gotta have a container.
I'm trying to figure that one out.
So are they.
You need a container, exactly.
So are they.
I don't know where it comes from. I know all I know is the gas that comes out of my body. You say I raised my hand. It was me.
Oh,
But other than
brother.
that, what I'm breathing, if you ask me where's the genesis, where's the origin, then I won't even know which direction to look into.
You can't. What he's saying is you can't have it without the container. His Elmer Fudd sophistry. Oh, just stand in the middle of the room. Well, do you have gas pressure? Yeah. Oh, where's the walls? Well, it's in the room with you. The room has walls. So it's an Elmer Fudd point. It's laughable. He got it from friggin' conspiracy cats, knucklehead. Who said? What did he say, Nathan?
And I'll quote him. So, quote, Conspiracy Cats 2019. Without the container, there can be no pressure, end quote.
There you go. That's the answer to the question. You have to have a container for gas pressure, or the gases will increase entropy and fill the available volume. So, if you don't have a container that is the walls in a room, then you won't have any pressure. It's that simple.
No. Well, yes, that's correct, but you've missed the overriding point. So what Rumpus wants to do is what's the word? Reel you in with a gas pressure gradient argument. So he's going to argue about a gas pressure differential somewhere along the line in his argument. But the point of the argument is, if the sky is a vacuum, how do we have gas pressure? Their claim that we're debunking is that space, outer space, is a vacuum. So to have the argument that he wants to have is there a gas pressure differential between me and, say, the above floor? Well, given that I can go up a hill and experience a gas pressure differential, I could say, well, yeah, we could get to the point where I would concede that the upper floor has a lower pressure than the ground floor. Well, so what? Where does the pressure come from in the first place, given that this whole argument, number 2 on this list, is debunking outer space and the sky vacuum? Because if that was real, we wouldn't have this argument to begin with, because the gas would all dissipate into the bloody sky vacuum in his religion. So why are we arguing about a gas pressure differential? Well, so we don't have to argue about where the gas we have to breathe comes from in the first place. And that would require the necessary antecedent of a container. And his spinning ball space monkey religion has us as a pressurized system in a sky vacuum. It's a violation of natural law. But he wants to argue about gas pressure, gradients, and differentials. So he doesn't have to actually argue about how the hell we have gas in the first place, given his religion's got a sky vacuum.
Yeah, I thought I already went over this with delta X and X.
The audience might not realise that why we've kicked Rumpus so soon. They're like, well, he's arguing that you put a barometer in the middle of the room. It's got no container around the barometer's barometer or whatever. It's like, our argument isn't about whether or not we can have a gas pressure differential. It's a delta of the gas we actually have, and you can only have gas pressure if you have a container. He's got a sky vacuum. So why are we arguing about differentials in a room? Well, so he doesn't have to argue about how we have a sky vacuum in his religion?
Yeah.
That's the point of his deflection.
Yeah. Elmer Fudd sophistry. All right. Next.
Yeah, and also a barometer is also a container.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder.
Yep.
It becomes the walls. It becomes part of the system. Yeah, exactly, Arwin.
Neil.
Yo.
You're
not going to believe this. My brother's on the phone, and he's telling me, did you ever shoot a bottle rocket? Does it curve? That's all the proof I need that the Earth is a ball. Oh, my God. Are you freaking kidding me? I have to tell him, John, please, I do not even want to entertain this. This is first grade. You're not keeping up to date with the flat Earth debate.
Dude, that is hilarious.
Yeah, let's give him the concise rebuttal rather than just laughing at him. So if he's claiming that you launch a bottle rocket and it takes a curved trajectory because in reality it's traveling straight but Earth turns underneath, well then if Earth turns underneath the bottle rocket, it would also turn under a plane, and a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA would take 1.5 hours because the Earth turned underneath. It actually takes 4.5 hours. Earth's not rotating underneath.
Am I reading this? Listen.
That's number 3. See part 1 of the top 3 videos.
Yeah, but he didn't say that, Nathan. He said because the bottle rocket is curving, the Earth is curving.
Shut up and listen.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's curving from his position on the ground. Well, that's in line with the Coriolis claim that Earth is spinning underneath. From his position, he's not overtly saying this, but he's saying that you're seeing the curved trajectory because we're observing Coriolis deviation. Although, again, he's not overtly stating that I see an apparent deviation. He just says it's curving. Well, it should curve because Earth should rotate underneath. But that's under the assumption that the bottle takes a straight trajectory and from his position only seems to curve. He might not be saying the seems to curve bit, but you should see, if Earth's turning underneath the bottle rocket, an apparent deviation. That's what you should have. So he's understanding what you should have. So you might as well point it out to him. Well, yeah, you're saying Earth's rotating under the bottle rocket.
No.
Well, it should rotate under the plane.
No. Not curving in that sense. Dropping in elevation curving. Hey, Neil, say that again.
Yeah. John, are you saying dropping in elevation curving, or are you saying just curving?
Yeah, no, I'm asking you that.
My brother's name is John, too.
Oh.
It doesn't just arc on descension. It arcs on ascension.
He says it arcs on ascension, not just on descension.
You were right, John.
I told you.
He said if the Earth is flat, it would go
just-
straight up.
Yeah, just keep laughing at him.
Okay.
I love
So
the
he
fact
said
that
if
New
the
York-
Earth isn't spinning, it would just go straight up. That's what he's saying.
Forget it. I can't. I told him he's got to get a little more educated before I speak to him. And he's a very smart kid, my brother John. Self-educated, very smart. But with this, he's not looking into it, and he's frustrating me.
So
Thanks,
he's your
Neil.
brother.
Yeah, he's one of my younger brothers. I have 5.
I take it all back. I'm sure we shouldn't be laughing at him. Just
No, I was laughing at him. What are you talking about?
fair enough.
It's an Italian family. If you can't take the abuse, you got to get out.
I love you, Neil. Thanks, man. That was extra. But no, my brother's name's John.
Yeah, I realized when I said it that it's John too. So I was like, oh boy. He's actually named after the Pope, John Paul, the first one, back in 1979. But that's another story. I'm enjoying it, John. Keep it going.
All right, man. Yeah, we're going 4 more hours. Thanks,
4
Neil.
more hours.
Yeah. Mr. Reality, sir.
Yeah. So what do they say the this vacuum is? What do they say that it actually is? What's the value of this?
That it's
vacuum?
an ultra high vacuum with interstellar space at 10 to the negative 17 torr.
Okay, so they're in this ship up there, the ISS. Are they keeping it at the same pressure within the ISS? Are they claiming that? Or are they have it at a different?
No, they're claiming that what they're going into is 10 to the negative. I would say somewhere right around where the ISS is. You're getting into 10 to the negative 6 to 10 to the negative 8 torr. Right around the moon, 10 to the negative 12th torr. And beyond that one, you start getting into interstellar space. It's 10 to the negative 17.
Well, that's all I got to say.
Okay. Thanks.
You know what? Do you know that? Can somebody qualify that for the audience? This wants to.
Well, just to put it to you this way, the most powerful vacuum in the world is at Plumbrook Station up there near Sandusky, Ohio. They can get it to 10 to the negative 17. 10 to the negative 6 torr, but they have 8-foot thick walls with reinforced concrete encased in aluminum and 2 doors that weigh 5 million pounds each.
Well, then would they have to? Are they pressurizing, or what are they doing within the?
They depressurize. Depressurize.
Okay, so have they ever shown a gauge or any video with the sound or anything where they're showing it's being decompressed?
Yes.
Before they go out.
Yes,
Oh,
I've seen it. Yeah, and they can get it down to 10 to the negative 6. Yeah, but the conditions. Remember the conditions.
But they've even simulated that on the ISS, so they do have it. And I don't think that where the ISS is supposed to be floating at that height, that the vacuum is even that extreme. It's still
No, that's what they
pretty
say it is.
vacuous.
No. It's not what you think. It's what they say it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
So when they tested it with didn't they have some issues with the guy? Passing out.
No, they didn't. That's not the same place.
Okay.
He wasn't at 10 to the -6, man. No way. No chance, dude. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's funny because you watch the old footage where
Hey, Mr. Reality, you're cutting in and out, man.
all right.
All right,
I'm
you're
out,
good.
guys.
Thanks for the comment, sir. Moose Tone.
Yeah, so I think they at some point will come up with a story saying that there must be some kind of a boundary, so some kind of a membrane that that sort of surrounds the Earth. I don't know how far, and that this prevents us from being in a vacuum. That this creates a container, but it's a membrane that is that can be traversed without even noticing by a spaceship or something. No, seriously, I think we have to anticipate that because that's what they're going to come up with.
That's a contradiction. It has to be a barrier to gases. You can't have a semi-permeable membrane.
Not listening to him, John. Quantum Eraser. I think the point he's making is what we need to expect is a double speak contradiction that is a boundary layer that's not a boundary layer. That's what he's saying.
Exactly.
Exactly.
No, but I'm sorry.
Look,
but
guys,
that's what they have to come up with something. It's going to be, something that
already
something
have.
that, in a way, sort of makes stuff
Alan's
not go out, whatever.
Owen's itching to give us valuable information. This normally has got a price tag on it, so I'm just going to clear the airwaves for him. Go ahead, Alwyn. Tell us how we've.
All right. No, but I've been sitting on all kinds of things for a while, but I'm just like, no, I in a way, I don't really want to put it out there because it's probably going to show too much confusion. But I've conceptualized ways even to kind of fix it and the gravity issue, and it's based on the Einsteinian model. And yeah, you could consider that I perfected it in a way, conceptually. And I didn't even involve any math. It's just pure expanding upon the concept of the space-time bending, which gravity is supposed to represent. But yeah, I'll leave maybe somewhere in the future.
So you'll
the end of the world is there or something.
Fair enough, Alwyn. Yeah, groaning.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all I got to say. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Let's go with Righteous. You want the con?
If you can handle it this time, it would be nice. I'm kind of in the middle of an online game.
Okay.
No.
Unbelievable. Davey, I seen you come off mute. What's up, Davey?
And I've heard a new one. The new one they got is clouds are proof of gas pressure without a container. Can you explain that one?
Oh, clouds? Really? Define what a cloud is made of?
You say it's gas pressure.
It's not. Define a cloud. Somebody look it up and define it. What is a cloud made of?
Let's see. Cloud is visible mass of condensed water vapor floating in the atmosphere, typically high above the ground.
That's not gas.
Water vapor is not gas.
Condensed water vapor.
Yeah, I got it.
There's
my argument, or my counter argument is, well, what about when the cloud moves? You still got the pressure to deal with, right?
Well, you wouldn't have gas pressure in the first place, right? You have to have a container to have gas pressure even exist, right? Clouds ain't going to do it. They don't know what a cloud's made of. They're morons.
Can I address this? Because this harks back to a time when I was far less wise, and Quantum Eraser told me, don't give them the answer to why we have a gas pressure gradient. Just don't give them. It's not relevant. They don't need it. It's not our justification. It's not our claim. They don't need the answer. Just don't give it them. Why bother? They can't have gas pressure without a container. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas would fill the space. That's the punctuation mark to this argument. So don't tell them why we have a gas pressure gradient. You don't need to. And he was right. But then one day I slipped it out. I was an idiot. I'm going to say it right now. I was stupid. I was wrong, because now we have to endlessly justify it because people start arguing with us about it. So when you get into, I don't know what grade you were taught this in, and I'm pretty sure it was taught to me in geography, but you have a gas cycle, and that's part of the gas cycle. But it doesn't in any way change the fact that you wouldn't have that gas pressure gradient with the dynamic cycle if you didn't have a container. So it's just another delta of the actual question that's being asked. How can you have gas pressure without a container, given that your system is a sky vacuum, with us still at pressure? That's a violation of natural law. Asking us why, when you've got that gas pressure, you end up with a dynamic system and the water cycle. Well, you still need it to be in a container to have the gas pressure form to then go into a cycle. So it doesn't address the question. And, explaining to people why you have a water cycle doesn't address, the necessary antecedent situation, which is violated in their worldview of a sky vacuum, which is the whole point of the argument. So by the time you're into this, you're so into the weeds and so far away from why you're having the argument, which is, by the way, you claim that the sky is a vacuum. Hello? Let's talk about how clouds form. No, it's just a way of getting away from their religion being demolished, as far as I'm concerned. And I am truly sorry that I ever argued for it, and because I was itching to tell them the reason, because they kept asking, and they were like, well, you're just obfuscating the point. You're obfuscating our question. You won't answer. You don't know. And I fell into it. I got suckered in. It's just the way it goes. But yeah, we have cycles. To have the cycles, though, you've got to have a container. The sky couldn't be a vacuum. That wouldn't happen. So yeah, anyway.
It's not your fault, man, because I let it loose before that, so it's not on you. It's inevitable. I just wanted to hold off for a while, right? It's not your fault. You did all right.
That answers your question.
Yeah. Davey, you good with that?
Yes, I'm here.
And so the definition of a cloud: clouds are made up of tiny water droplets or ice crystals, usually a mixture of both. So tiny water droplets and ice crystals, those aren't gases. Good?
They're not really bouncing off anything.
It's not made of gases, is the point. Good?
When it starts, okay, so when it evaporates, is that gas? And
when
then
what
it reaches
evaporates?
up there, it's into the sky, and it turns into clouds. Does it change into a gas then?
No, it changes into a gas. The evaporation turns water into water vapor. The water vapor rises, turns into clouds. It condenses, and then it rains.
Right.
Or snows or whatever. Yep. Hairbow. Oh, sorry. Who was that?
If I was a vacuum, we wouldn't have clouds, right? Because they would just fly off into space, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't have water. You wouldn't have clouds. No, you wouldn't have any of it. Nope.
Bang on. I'm glad you said that. That makes me smile. Exactly.
I lost my spot here. 1 second. Acting up on me.
You want me to hustle?
Who we got? We got Hairbow. Hairbow, you're off mute. Anything? God Scalpel, you are off mute, sir.
Just listening today.
I'm sorry, Hairbow. You weren't off mute. That's my mistake. Let's go to Hairbow. Go ahead. Being shy. You stonewalling us. All right, God Scalpel, go ahead.
That is just listening.
Or just listening today, Huey.
Okay, cool. Bug XD, you are off mute, sir.
He never talks.
Oh, got it. Okay, so I'll put you on mute since you never talk. Already got Davey. Anything other than clouds?
Let's see. The helium thing kind of trips me out because I get asked that a lot. And from what I know, helium is a natural gas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Comes from under the ground?
Yeah.
Is it contained underground, or like is it in pockets of
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes. So it is contained to a point until it's released. Yes.
And even helium is underground, then they pump it out, put it in another container.
Sure.
You can put it in another container called a balloon.
Yep.
And it will rise.
Yes.
There goes your gravity.
You got it.
Okay, so how is this helium? Is this another like gas cycle where it starts underground? Is it just a phenomenon that nobody really knows?
Yeah, there's a limited resource for. I don't want to go down the helium. Where's helium and where it's at in the ground? There's a limited resource of helium. And by the way, NASA is the world's foremost consumer of helium. They need it for their birthday parties.
And their space shuttle launches.
That's fun.
Nice. That's it. I'm good. Thanks, man.
Good. Yeah.
Same rebuttal applies. So, it's an interesting topic, but ultimately speaking, we wouldn't have any gases at all if the sky was a vacuum. Same thing applies.
Yeah. Chocolate, any final thoughts on the gas pressure?
You already know. Can't have gas pressure without a container.
All right.
It's a wrap for that.
Yeah, that's a wrap. Arwen.
Really?
Yeah,
Go?
Yeah, any final thoughts? Yeah, don't go on. No, not with the space time. No. Any final thoughts on gas pressure without a container?
Because the bending of space-time could potentially find an equilibrium with the gas pressure expansion at the outer edges of the Earth's gravitation field influence. So that might account for it to some degree. But other than that, not really.
Appreciate that. Betty! What?
Yes, sir.
Any thoughts on gas pressure without a container? And admin, please, before we get to the final one.
Do I have to have any thoughts about air?
You don't have to, no.
Luckily. Well, the admin is very slow, so I don't have to do that on that.
You don't have to worry about that? Okay.
No.
So we're ready to move. Nathan!
I've just got one final thought before we do move on in terms of pressure without a container, which is to say, if you're finding yourself in a debate about this, it is not your job to justify what the sky is. So why is the sky blue? What is the sky? I don't know the answer to them. Don't be embarrassed to say, I do not know. I know it's not a vacuum because that violates natural law. But in other words, don't get suckered into justifying what the sky is if you don't know what the sky is. I certainly don't know what the sky is. Just because we now don't know that it's a vacuum doesn't mean that you have to tell them what it is. Not your job to do so. Just wanted to add that on to the end. I know I said it in the presentation, but just want to tack that on to the end in case anyone gets suckered into justifying why we've got domes. No, I haven't ever claimed a dome and I never need to. Neither do you. I don't know what the sky is. And that's not trying to offend anybody who does justify a dome with religious belief. That's fine by me. I don't have to. So there we go. Just wanted to add that on these ends.